I believe, yeah, yes. Right.
Just away. Hey, John.
Let us ask the question. Is anybody here from Spanish language media? Okay, thank you.
Okay. We might need to call them. We
Yeah,
might need,
we plan to.
yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Hey, can we make sure that Mr. Holmes has a chair to sit in?
Let's have all these folks come up with you and Mr. Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Holmes? We got a chair for you. I don't want you standing up too long. Yeah, man, you gotta save your strength. You gotta have to talk in a minute, so I want you to be ready to go. All right. Manuela, ¿estás lista? You ready? John, we ready? Is everybody here ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just waiting on Mr. Stiles to say we're ready. Brian, are we ready? Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Keith Ellison. I'm the Attorney General for the state of Minnesota. Welcome to the offices of the Attorney General's office. For many Minnesotans, a car is the most expensive purchase they'll ever make. It's also often one of the most important. If people can't afford cars, it's hard for them to afford their lives. People deserve to navigate the car buying process with dignity, safety, and respect, and trust that they're going to get a fair deal. Fridley used car dealer Midwest Car Search and its owner, Scott Spichka, violated that trust. Today, my office is suing Midwest Car Search for misrepresenting the quality of its cars it is selling, while also illegally including expensive add-ons in their sales without disclosing them to buyers. This is a long-term systematic pattern of deception targeting Minnesotans, often, but not always, with limited English language skills, and people who have had challenge credit. This deception takes many forms. First, Midwest Car Search, or MCS, misrepresented the quality of their vehicles. MCS claimed that in their marketing that every single one of its used cars were quote-unquote certified in order to deceive consumers into thinking that the vehicle was reliable and in good working order. It was all over their advertisements. All of our cars are pre-owned, pre-checked, certified vehicles. You don't have to worry about that, is their quote. They told our secret shopper, yeah, we had a secret shopper, that everything on the lot was certified. Now you can listen to this clip, but before it starts, know that certified has a specific legal meaning under Minnesota law. So we're ready for the clip.
Can I see some stuff first?
Yeah, go ahead.
What can you show me?
We got buyer's guides in all the windows of every vehicle, say the mileage and year and everything. If there's something you really like, you can come grab it.
And you got stuff certified?
Yep, certified pre-owned vehicles. Run everything through our inspection department.
It's all certified, and it's not salvage.
No salvage, clean title only.
So, in reality, not one of more than 3,000 cars Midwest Car Search sold from 2017 to 2022 met the definition of certified in Minnesota law. I don't know if you heard me correctly. Not one of more than 3,000 cars Midwest Car Search sold from 2027 to 2022 met the definition of certified under Minnesota law. As a result of this deceptive scheme, people thought they were driving off the lot with a quality vehicle. In fact, in too many cases, they were stuck with lemons. Number two, MCS illegally signed consumers up for expensive vehicle service contracts without buyer's consent. These contracts aren't like a warranty, but instead require the owner to make an out-of-pocket payment in advance for service. We received 200 customer files in our investigation and found that MCS didn't disclose even one of those contracts to buyers as are required by law. Instead, MCS often buried the agreement in these vehicle service contracts in financing paperwork, even if the customer explicitly said they did not want such a contract, in hopes that the people wouldn't notice that the MCS had added to their purchase. These buried agreements often directly contradicted promises made by MCS sales staff and were only provided in English, making them inaccessible to many of MCS's Spanish-speaking customers. For example, one Spanish-speaking customer was quoted a price of $22,000 for a vehicle that was promised there were no extra charges for roadside assistance and oil change service program. But after a while, she discovered that these options were indeed expensive add-ons, and also learned that MCS had added $1,300 service contract to the purchase. Overall, from 2017 to 2022, consumers paid $4.5 million in total for MCS's vehicle service contracts alone. These contracts resulted in an 8% markup on the vehicle's prices. During that period, less than 1% of buyers who needed financing avoided these predatory contracts. You know who wasn't among the 1%? The owner's son. In addition to adding these expensive service contracts, MCS failed to provide the express written warranties that are required by Minnesota law on most used car sales. MCS often advertised that its vehicles were covered by warranties. They told our secret shopper the same thing. Listen to this recording.
Hey, looking for a car?
Yeah, you looking to get some financing done?
Yeah, but what do you get? Do you have looking at something like less than 5 years, less than 50,000?
I mean, I got plenty of like 2017s, 2018s. We only carry low mileage stuff. We put warranties on everything so you can cover.
But more often than not, these warranties were not provided as required by law, and when MCS did provide them, they often refused to honor them. We talked to one buyer who purchased a vehicle with a promise of a bumper-to-bumper warranty, but that very next day, the car started shaking on the freeway. When the customer brought it back to MCS for repairs, MCS refused to address the problem. The buyer had to spend $2,500 out of pocket to fix the car he just bought. 4, MCS failed to provide the legally required buyer's guide on their vehicle. Minnesota law requires used car dealers to provide a straightforward disclosure document called a buyer's guide, which each car offered for sale, indicating that the car is covered by a warranty and whether an option service contract is available for purchase. If the sale is conducted in Spanish, Minnesota law requires that the customer is provided with a buyer's guide in Spanish so that they know what they're agreeing to. This document is critical to informing consumers of their rights, but even though MCS regularly advertised in Spanish and conducted sales in Spanish, MCS did not provide buyer's guides in Spanish. More frequently, MCS produced buyer's guides that were simply inaccurate. If you look here to my left, let me pay attention, check this out. Sometimes they illegally mark their vehicles no dealer warranty when the car was actually entitled to a warranty coverage. In other cases, MCS disclosed the wrong parts covered by the warranty or misstated the duration of the warranty. Fifth, MCS targeted Spanish speakers and using an unregistered name, Coches, Minnesota. Coches means cars in Spanish. Using this alias, MCS aggressively targeted Spanish speakers with their illegal practices, luring them in with Spanish language marketing. So you can see the Coches language on here, right there. We heard from multiple people who said that their conversations with MCS salespeople were all conducted in Spanish. But when they got ready to sign on the dotted line, all the paperwork would be in English. MCS also specifically targeted customers with lower credit scores, people receiving government benefits, and seniors on a fixed income. 90% of their customers needed financing to make their purchases, and they ended up with interest rates reaching 22%. So let me just wrap up by saying these few things. Minnesota's used car sales statute was strengthened last year to better protect buyers from fraudulent dealerships like MCS. Unfortunately, thousands of Minnesotans purchase cars from MCS based on a long-standing practice of false representation, illegal practices, and flat-out lies. MCS broke almost every rule in almost every sale they made. With this lawsuit today, we're putting a stop to it. I'm grateful for the many, many people who reached out to us with their complaints about MCS. Those calls prompted us to take a closer look, and that investigation led us here today. This is a great reminder for our Consumer Action Division, some of whom are here today, that you are very, very valuable to our office, and we're grateful for your service. You guys at the Consumer Action Division are ready and waiting to help people every day and help folks out when they've been targeted by scammers or illegal businesses. You can reach our Consumer Action Group at 651-296-3353, 651-296-3353, or you can file a complaint online. We'll do whatever we can to stop businesses like MCS and others from taking advantage of you and your pocketbook. And when you call us, you don't only help, and when you call us, you're not only giving us a chance to help you, you're giving us a chance to help the entire community. It is very important that you have the courage of some of the people you're going to hear from today to step forward and say, this is wrong, and we need to do something about it. Most folks suffer under a scammer and just hope for the best, but sometimes you got to step up and do something about it, like the courageous people who you're going to hear from today. Just want to thank some folks on my staff for the wonderful job that they've done on this case. Assistant Attorney General Jason Plagencool, of course, Alex Baldwin, absolutely, Mandy Renham, wonderful job, Investigator David Pegg, great job, and also Law Clerk Molly Kleist, who will be joining us next year. And I also want to thank the Consumer Action Division, the folks who answer the phones and the emails when you call us at 651-296-3353 for talking to consumers who are defrauded by groups like MCS and moving forward on their complaints. And we wouldn't be here today without them either. Also, mediator Gerardo Orozco Guzman had done a wonderful job. And I also want to definitely give big thanks to the leaders of our consumer division, people like Jessica Whitney, who's here today, and also James Canaday, who do a wonderful job leading our team. And now, I'd like you to hear from people directly affected by this. First, a very honorable gentleman, courageous citizen who stepped forward and told the truth, and will do it again today. Mr. Henry Holmes will talk about his experience in buying from MCS, and that he believed was a certified vehicle. And then I'll ask Manuela Garcia to join me and to talk about her experience as a Spanish speaker, targeted by MCS. She'll be giving her testimony with the assistance of an interpreter investigator, David Pegg, who, to our benefit, is expert in speaking Spanish. So first off, Mr. Holmes, would you join us up here at the podium?
Good morning. Morning. Yeah, I was a customer at Midwest-St, and I was really disappointed after buying a car there. They got a way of switching you from room to room, checking your credit, this room, sending you to talk to this guy, that woman. You'd never talk to one person. I should have known then something was up. Because usually you only buy from one guy and he get to sell. And, one thing I wanted to know is I was financing, so how much my interest gonna be? Because of I had pretty good credit, but I was on a fixed income. So I knew I was gonna make payments, so I know I can add that interest and see what I could be paying. So after they checked my credit, I asked them what my interest gonna be. They would never tell me. They all beat around the bush about it. And then they showed me a few cars that they can put me in right that day. So I said, okay. So we went in, filled out all this different paperwork, and I wanted to test drive it. And no, the car is certified. There's nothing wrong with it. If anything wrong, bring it back. And plus, they sold me a warranty. And I took the car back the next day with the problems I had. They refused to fix anything. They told me they weren't going to do anything to it. So that's when I told them I'm going to call Attorney General. They didn't believe me. They did put a ball joint in there and didn't tighten it down. I was all over the road. I went to get front end alignment. And they didn't tighten it up. They just put a ball joint in and didn't tighten it up. I was all over the road. The car was dangerous itself. It had been in an accident. It was what they call a salvage car. And I asked them straight out. They said, no, we don't sell salvage cars. And after I got it, I drove off the lot. Well, I didn't drive it off the lot because I was at a rent-a-car. My car, after I purchased the car, right away they wanted to get it off the lot. They drove it over on a lot across the street and said I can pick it up there. Because I wanted to leave it there and then come back and get it. So they drove it over there, and when I did get it, the front end was real bad. The car had been in an accident. It was a car out of New York. And I went back and I told them, no, we don't sell salvage cars. And I showed them all the work, and you lift the hood up, showed them all the work that was done on the car. They pounded the fender, the hood out, all the wrong parts inside the vehicle, bolts missing, exhaust leaking, and they swear nothing wrong with the car. I took it back in there, antifreeze leaking all over the place. And they just didn't want to do it. I said, well, you sold me a warranty. Well, we don't do that kind of work. Well, you told me bring it back here. You got the mechanic shop right here. But you're not going to do anything to a car you sold me. So I felt used. So I called the Attorney General. Because I can't see letting people get away with stuff like that. And using the elderly people and people that don't understand what they're talking about. And they lie, straight up lie to their face. That's all I gotta say right now.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Can you spell your first and last name?
Henry, Henry, Holmes, Holmes.
And what city are you from?
Minneapolis.
Thank you.
Can we ask some questions now so he doesn't have to?
Sure.
Sure, sure.
Have you calculated, sir, how much money you're out with this car purchase? Round figures.
I really can't say because, well, I had to put 2 front tires on it, front end alignment. For days I kept dumping antifreeze in it. That's about $20-something a jug. And what else? I had something else done to it. And then I had when it had a diagnostic done on it. They found all kind of stuff wrong with it. And I say that came out about a little over $1,500 with everything I done to it, out of my pocket.
And did you say you purchased a warranty from the dealership?
Yes, well, that was in there. I didn't even know it was in there until signing up.
It was part of the.
Yeah, it was part of the deal.
Anything else for Mr. Holmes?
What's that?
They said that that he had the warranty.
Yeah,
So
there
said
was the
they
warranty.
would not do that kind.
They would not do that
What
work.
wouldn't they do?
I don't know. I told him, well, they had me sign something. He had me sign, after I was asking all these questions, he had me sign something and say, I won't sue him if something wrong. I said, no, I won't sue you. You take care of the problem. He said, any problem you got, I will take care of it. We got our own mechanic shop right here. They got, I think it was 3 or 4 bays there. They did all the work. And but that warranty, I really didn't know he'd written that up. You see, he added that up for a warranty, and then he put in there for, what was it, something about G something. It's if you total the car or something, they will pay up what the insurance wouldn't pay, whatever that was. That was another $1,200 they charged me. And then they charged me, I didn't know until I find out. I went through the papers after I signed everything, and interest was, I think it was 23%.
What is it, 23% interest on the sale?
On the sale. It was a $9,000 car. By the time everything was done, it was $22,000.
How long was the note? How many years?
5 years, I think it was.
Why is it important for you to share your story? What are you hoping comes out of this?
I'm hoping they clear the act up or get shut down.
Mr. Holmes, how old are you?
I'm 73.
And how did you hear about this dealership?
On Facebook. That's what made me go out there. I seen them. They guaranteed their cars, and they guarantee they can finance you.
Let's hear from Ms. Garcia. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Holmes.
thank you very
We
much.
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
¿Estás listo?
If you could speak both together as close to the microphones as you could, Mr. Campbell, thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Manuela y yo compré un carro en Midwest Car Sale en el 2019.
Good morning. My name is Manuela, and I bought a car from Midwest Car Search in 2019.
El carro, el anuncio yo lo vi por Facebook y a mí me impresionó porque eran 500 de down payment, decían muchas cosas, que los carros estaban certificados y que eran buenos carros.
And so the car, I first saw their ads on Facebook, and what really stood out is they said there were $500 down payments, the cars were certified, and all the cars were good.
asistí al concesionario y me dijeron que me contactó una señorita que se llama, no recuerdo el nombre,
And then,
Evelyn Salas, y me dijo en español todo lo que tenía el carro.
and so, I went down to the car dealer, and there, but before that, I talked with someone on the phone. I'm not remembering her name. Oh, yeah, that sales lady. Her name was Evelyn Salas. She spoke to me in Spanish and gave me all the details.
Me interesé por una F-150, el cual les pregunté el precio y nunca me dieron el precio.
And I was interested in an F-150, and I asked the price, and they never gave me the price.
Y ella me dio una aplicación para que hiciera el chequeo de mi crédito, me pidió mi licencia y nunca, yo seguí preguntando el precio, pero ella nunca me dio hasta que se llevó el papel ya con mi aplicación.
And I asked her, and I spoke with her, and then she gave me an application, and I needed to look at my credit score. I had to show them my license. I kept on asking them about the price, but they never gave it to me, even after I gave them the application.
Después entró un americano hablando inglés que ya había sido aprobada, pero con ay, no sé cómo se dice, que tenía que traer a otra persona para que me aprobaran mi crédito. De ahí.
And so after that, another person came in, this American guy, an English speaker, and he said I was approved. But then he said that I needed, I'm not sure how to say it, it's like co-signer.
De ahí fui aprobada, pero no me dieron precio, no me dieron interés, no me dieron nada. Y pues yo seguí preguntando, pero nada que me dieron respuesta.
And so when I got the co-signer, they said I'd be approved, but then they still wouldn't tell me the price, they wouldn't tell me the interest rate, they wouldn't tell me anything of anything, no matter how many times I asked them.
De hecho, ellos me dijeron que el carro valía $29,000, pero que ellos me iban a dar un descuento de $4,000 y el carro iba a salir en $22,000, el cual nunca fue.
And in fact, they told me that the car was going to be a total of $29,000, but that they'd give me a discount of $4,000 and that it would end up being a total of $22,000, but none of that was the truth.
Me llevé el carro y el carro no le funcionaban los frenos.
And I took the car, but the brakes never worked.
Fui con un mecánico y me dijo que por qué había comprado ese carro, que era un carro que no me servía y que no lo podía seguir utilizando por los frenos.
And I took it to a mechanic who asked me, why I even bought this thing. They said it didn't work at all and I shouldn't be driving it at all.
Hablé a la compañía y les dije que el carro no servía de los frenos y ellos me contestaron que hablara con el banco que me había dado el préstamo, siendo ellos que me habían dado la garantía.
And so then I called up the company and I told them that the brakes were no good, and they said, well, you got to call up the bank that lent you the money, even though they were the ones that sold me the warranty.
Pagué más de $500 por los frenos porque tenían que ser unos frenos que iban con la camioneta y eran muy caros, a pesar de que yo les di $4,000 de down payment a ellos y para una aseguranza para que me arreglaran el carro.
And I had to spend $500 on these brakes to fix them on this truck because they're expensive for being on the truck. That's despite the fact that I even gave them $4,000 in cash down payment and for some sort of assurance that they said that I would be getting.
Pues estoy muy decepcionada con estos porque más que nada el fraude es más para los hispanos.
And I'm really
que no hablamos inglés y les hacen fraude.
And I'm really disillusioned with what they've done to us because this fraud is especially being committed against this Hispanic community because many people do not speak English, so they are able to do this fraud.
A pesar de que hay personas ahí que hablan español, no ayudan por lo mismo a leer bien los documentos, a especificarles el precio y a especificarles el monto del crédito, o sea, la tasa de interés.
And even though they have people there speaking Spanish, they don't help you. They don't help you read through the documents or tell you what the price is really going to be or the credit or even the interest rate.
Gracias, es todo lo que tengo que decir.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to share today. Si los dos pueden deletrear sus nombres.
Manuela Enríquez, Manuele.
My name is Manuela Enriquez. First name is Manuela.
Last name, how do you spell it?
Enríquez, Enriquez.
Enriquez is Enriquez.
So city and age.
¿Y en qué ciudad vive o cuántos años tiene?
Vivo en Burnsville y tengo 43 años.
I live in Burnsville and I'm 43 years old. Y el intérprete se puede deletrear su nombre. My name is David Pegg, Davidpegg.
David is a staff member at the Attorney General's office.
Appreciate it.
Y David es miembro de la Fiscalía, es un investigador. Gracias.
Gracias.
I have one question.
Yo tengo una preguntita.
You mentioned twice that,
Usted mencionó dos veces que seguía preguntando por el precio y la tasa de interés.
When did you finally
¿Cuándo
find that out?
por fin se dio cuenta de la tasa de interés y cuánto fue la tasa de interés?
Un día después yo hablé a los del banco del crédito.
I first heard about all that the next day when I called up the bank, the people who, with the credit.
De Credit Accept, así se llama.
The bank, it's known as credit acceptance.
So that both the price and the interest rate she discovered after.
Así que solo se dio cuenta del precio total y de la tasa de interés al día siguiente.
Al día siguiente.
Yep,
El
the
papel
next day.
nuevo. Porque yo chequé los papeles y todo y no tenía nada.
Because I was looking through all the paperwork and I didn't see anything.
Do you remember what the interest rate ended up being?
¿Y se acuerda cómo fue la tasa de interés?
Un 23%.
23%.
And as of now, are you still
Y el día de
applying
hoy,
for this loan on the car?
¿aún debe el préstamo para ese carro?
Ahorita ellos me ayudaron a restaurar mi crédito, a ver lo del banco.
Well, they helped me, figure out the credit and the bank.
Did you seek out a Spanish language speaker to, I guess, help with the translation of those documents, and they refused to provide that?
Y usted como buscó a alguien que hablaba español para traducirle los documentos y ellos rehusaron a darle como a alguien hispanoparlante para leerle los documentos.
Sí, ellos no me tradujeron no me tradujeron los papeles en sí.
Yeah, they did not translate. As such, they did not translate any of the paperwork.
Well, thank you all very much. We'll be happy to answer questions from the Attorney General's perspective if you like. Maybe some of my colleagues could join me to answer some of the questions. Alex, if you want to come on up, guys.
Start things off. You mentioned there's a legal definition of certified in Minnesota, and they said all their cars were certified. What is that definition, and what would they need to do to move that?
You guys want to handle that one?
Good morning, Assistant Attorney General Alex Baldwin. So the definition under Minnesota law is defined in the negative as to what can be marketed or sold as certified. There are 8 conditions that if any of them are present, you cannot market or sell a car as certified. That includes, for example, if you sell a car as is without a dealer warranty, you cannot market or sell the car as certified. So Midwest did that about 75% of the time. There's other requirements by law that, again, if they're present, you can't do it, and we found those present in our review of their files. It's Minnesota Statutes 325F.662 subdivision 2.
Do you have any idea how many, again, big figure about, how many cars we're talking about in your investigation?
Is 3,200 cars between 2017 and 2022, which is the data we obtained during our investigation.
Do you know if there are any plans for criminal charges?
Well, you know, we have to bifurcate the criminal and the civil, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, criminal authorities were at least notified, and then they would take it from there. Our job is to do the civil enforcement, and we're doing that, but it wouldn't be the first time that criminal authorities took an interest. As you may know, only the governor can appoint us or the county attorney can ask us, but we don't have independent criminal authority.
What does liability look like? Is it just the owner of the dealership? Are salespeople liable when it comes to what's being charged?
You want to take that one?
Well, we did not name any car salespeople as defendants in this lawsuit. So just the dealership and the owner, Scott Spitzka.
I guess maybe a better question is, somewhere down the line, could these salespeople be liable for what's happening?
Under Minnesota's consumer protection statutes, individuals can be liable, but I don't know that.
You want to chime in, Alan?
We're primarily focused on the dealership and the owner because they're the ones who actually control the policies, but it is true, there could be additional defendants named at a later date.
You know, your question's a fair one, but from our perspective, picking off salespeople who probably are folks trying to make a living is small ball. We want to stop the problem at its source, and that means going after the most responsible people. And I may say, today is MCS. We hope that other companies in the same business, in the same industry, take note that we are interested in making sure that people get fairness in the used car industry and be fair and square with their customers, because we're not limiting our investigation to just one company. We're trying to make sure there's general fairness in the used car industry.
Yes,
Sir?
The used car industry has been around with bad practices before I was a kid. How does this still happen? Have the laws changed in their favor? Have they gotten more creative? Are the laws loose? How does this still happen?
Well, you know, let me tell you, creativity among people who commit scams is something that we live with every single day. But also, the state legislature did tighten up the laws last year, and that's a good thing. And so, and then, you know, look, we're trying to deal with online scams, bad landlords, tricky solar companies, all kinds of folks. We're trying to make them be fair in the marketplace. But it's just become clear to us through the number of calls we were getting that we need to focus our attention in this area more than we have. So in part, it is you know, my policy choice that we're going to aim more closely in the industry. And this is because, you know, great folks like Gerardo and others in our consumer group are like, hey, we got to do something here. So, yeah, follow up.
On solutions, this shows that clearly not everybody knows what to do when they go to buy a car or a used car. What should people know to do? How do you figure out if the car has been certified? It sounds like a simple question, but apparently it's not.
You know what? This is among the most important questions to be asked. Because who knows what to do? Actually, fairly few number of people what to do. I graduated from high school. I went to college. I went to law school. I passed the bar exam. I don't know the ins and outs of all car law. That's why we got people like Alex and others at our office who know this stuff. As a consumer, yeah, read as much as you can. Absolutely educate yourself to the degree that you can. But at the end of the day, the seller has to be fair and abide by the law. We need consumer education, but that alone will never get it done. Even people who've bought, I mean, think about it. I'm 60 years old, and my entire life I've maybe bought 7 or 8 cars in my life. These people sell 7 or 8 cars a morning. It is an asymmetry of information, and therefore there's got to be responsibility on industry, and of course consumers should always beware, but we don't live in a caveat emptor world. Buyer beware. We live in a world with consumer protection laws, and they have to be observed and they have to be enforced. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
The law
Yeah.
passed last year. I mean, had that not been passed, would you not be able to get done this suit or?
You know, with some of the egregious things that they've done, I think we could have figured out a way to move forward. It certainly did help.
Are there laws limiting, like, you know, what someone would consider like predatory interest rates on cars, or is this like a loophole that, you know?
So interest rates are an interesting subject. We have limits on interest rates in Minnesota, but they don't always apply. I don't know. Do you guys want to take up this issue? Yeah.
Yeah, the complaint that we filed this morning, the lawsuit, does not include allegations about the interest rates being illegal, but it is something that caused significant consumer harm by inflating the price that consumers paid.
Would they have to be 35% or more to be legal?
Always a tricky question, but I think 23% is the magic number in this industry.
And in the suit, and I'll read it too, but what are you asking for? Injunction, damages, and damages would be paid to the consumers if that's what it led to?
Yes.
Yeah, step up.
We're seeking an injunction to stop the illegal behavior. We're seeking restitution or refunds for consumers. We're seeking penalties, and we're seeking our attorney's fees. Again, our primary focus is getting this conduct to stop and getting money back in people's pockets.
So is that ideally full restitution for all buyers who purchase these fraudulent vehicles?
Full restitution is always the goal, but every case is different, and we'll have to see what we ultimately uncover through the lawsuit.
What's the status of this dealership as we stand here this morning? Are they functioning as normal?
As far as I'm aware, they opened this morning.
When you say stopping the illegal behavior, now, that can mean shutting them down, or it can mean, you know, they have to comply. I mean, what in reality, does that mean shutting them down, or?
You know, our goal is never to shut down a business that has a legal premise, but we need to shut down the bad practices. And here's a question for the business. If the only way for you to continue in business is to continue to operate illegally, maybe you shouldn't be operating at all. But a lot of car dealers do open every single day and don't cheat people, so we think they ought to be able to do the same thing.
Just going back to my initial question, so they can just say that they're certified. How do they show that they're certified? I guess if I were to go and buy a used car right now and they say, yep, it's certified, where can I go to figure out if that's true or not?
You want to step up?
So at a minimum, the dealer would have to provide you with an inspection report stating all of the parts that were inspected and the results of them, and those, you know, they vary by the manufacturer of the car, but that alone is not sufficient if other things are present. If they're selling it without a warranty, if they're failing to give you that report, they cannot mark the car, they cannot sell or advertise the car as certified.
But just because, see, here's the thing. If you're buying a car and somebody says it's certified, don't just take their word for it. Ask some questions, demand some documents. Don't sign up until you've asked a few questions. But as I say that, I also don't want to let these businesses off the hook. I don't want to slide into some blame the victim thing where it's like, oh, well, they didn't ask if I was defrauding them, so it's okay for me to defraud them. That's not what's going on here. These businesses have a responsibility to be fair with consumers, and some businesses do it every single day. MCS needs to do the same thing. So you understand what I'm trying to say? One of our problems as enforcers of the civil consumer law is that people sometimes feel embarrassed when they are financially defrauded and exploited. And they think to themselves, oh man, I shouldn't have done this, I should have been smarter, I should have been this, I should have been that. Well, no, these people are liars and frauds. You didn't do anything wrong. You see what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit reluctant to say, well, what the consumer should have done. The consumer should have, should of course ask questions and take their time, but it's not the consumer's fault when a fraudster defrauds them.
One more thing on that certified thing. So basically, if I've got this right, well, consumers going to see that, and the immediate thing is like, well, hey, someone made a mistake came in and certified it.
Right.
But you're saying it's really just a negative, in the sense that like anybody can plaster something on and says certified as long as these 8 elements aren't somehow met.
Sort of. So again, there has to be something, the car has to actually have been inspected, and the results of that inspection have to be given to the consumer. That's a minimum.
Inspected by who?
I don't think it's required by statute as to who the inspection is done by.
Qualified inspector.
Yeah.
So like a garage.
Yeah. So that's necessary, but not sufficient for the car to be marketed as certified. So there's 7 other, factors identified in the statute that if any of them are present, prevents it from being.
Those are the negatives.
Correct. And the most common one that we saw is, again, about 3/4 of the vehicles they sold, they marked as is with no dealer warranty, which means they automatically cannot call the car certified.
Is this the first time that the Attorney General's office is hearing about this, or have there been other complaints in the past about this specific car dealership?
Well, we receive like 60 to 85,000 complaints every year. So it's not like we don't hear problems. But on this scale, with this much, these folks have earned the reputation of frequent flyers. So no, we're not claiming that we've never received a complaint before. We received so many complaints, it's literally impossible for us to respond to every single one of them. We do the best we can on every one of them, and we do a great job, but there are a lot of them. And so this one got our attention because of the good work of the Consumer Action Team, and we then redirected our energy to do something about this case. But we're on the lookout for others as well. So, hey, thanks a lot, everybody, for your questions today. We appreciate your time, and certainly you're helping to advance consumer protection by sharing this story. So thanks a lot. All right.
ALEX, Alex. Baldwin, Baldwin.
Not Alec Baldwin. That's the other guy.